Hey guys, Brad here with Custom Offsets. Got another episode of Lifts and Levels. This is going to be a McGaughys 7 to 9 inch basic lift for 2014 to 2018 GM 1500 trucks. All right, so as you know, McGaughys has a couple different variations of the 7 to 9 inch lift kit. This is going to be the basic one, and what that means is on the basic kit, you'll get this almost like a semi-gloss black finish, and there's going to be none of the stainless steel inserts on the face of the cross members or anything like that. So none of the the fancy inlays or anything like that. You don't get that, but for the most part, all the other components are going to be the same. You know, this is still adjustable, so it still comes with the adjustable struts and everything like that. And we'll talk about that once we get there. But like I said, this is a 7 to 9 inch kit. What's really nice about McGaughys kits is they are a true 7 inch kit. As you can see here, the front cross members here actually have about 7 3/4 inch of drop for your lower control arms, and then everything's going to be built around that. So this isn't like a 4 or 5 inch kit that you then stretch out to make it a 7 inch kit. It's really about a little bit more, almost an 8 inch kit that you can run at 7, 8, or 9 inches. And the reason that's important is because at 7, 8, and 9 inches, you'll have good angles on your CV axles and tie rods and everything like that. So let's see, we got our front cross member, our rear cross member here, and then running through the rest of the components, we got our CV axle spacers. They're nice aluminum spacers. These kits also don't really increase track width too much. I believe at 7 inches, there's virtually no track width increase. And then when you bump it up to 9 inches, there's very minimal. We do have it on our website. I can't remember off the top of my head what the track width increase is, but it is very minimal compared to other kits out there. So nice aluminum spacers here, and then we'll measure some of the other components here. These are the Diff Drop brackets, and as you can see, they're quite large. One advantage of dropping the diff so much, let's see, they measure about 7 inches on the Diff Drop. And one nice thing about that when you drop the diff a lot is you don't have to trim the front diff because it clears the power steering rack and everything like that. So you can literally just drop the diff down and bolt it back onto the diff brackets. You don't have to worry about trimming the ear off of the diff or anything like that. You don't have to worry about any of that with this kit. Sway bar drop brackets here, those are going to be a lot smaller. Obviously, it's about 3.5 inches of drop on the sway bars. And then we'll just measure the rear blocks as well. They give you these nice fabricated rear blocks. They are a tapered block, and let's see, these measure about 6 inches a lift in the rear. And the way these kits are designed out of the boxes, they're designed to be level, ride level, you know, front to rear at 7 inches. And you can buy optional parts if you want to lift the rear up to match the front. And that's what this customer did here. That's going to be what these add-a-leafs are. You can see here, these are the additional add-a-leafs. These are going to be used to, if you're going to run the kit at 9 inches to bump the rear up and make it level at 9 inches, you're going to want to get the additional add-a-leaf kit. And then let's see the rest of the components here. We got the new McGaughys steering knuckles. As you can see, these are nice new massive forged knuckles as well with this kit. And then a lot of the magic, I guess you would say, from the McGaughys kits come from these struts here. These are going to be the front struts, and as you can see, they are adjustable. They actually have this preload adjuster here, and there's multiple slots on the strut. You can see you use the bottom slot here if you're running at 7 inches, the middle slot would be 8, and then the top slot is where you would set it to run at 9 inches. And all McGaughys kits for the 07 and up GM 1500s have these struts. It doesn't matter if it's the basic kit, the premium one, or whatever it is, they all have it. And then we got the rear shocks as well, the silver McGaughys shocks for the rear. This kit does come with new tie rod ends, which is nice, so no cutting the factory ones. And we got also, this basic kit does come with the compression struts. Remember, these are going to be a brace basically that runs from the rear cross member to the frame to prevent it from flexing or moving at all. And as you can see, these are just the basic kit comes with this standard tubular compression strut, whereas the premium kit actually has a fancy, you know, laser etched one, a box style one, is if you were to call it that, whereas the basic one just gets the standard tubular one. It works exactly the same, just not as pretty. some of the brackets for that as well. And then they had these little sway bar, I don't know what you were to call them. They actually, you move the sway bar, it's an adapter for the sway bar end link. And then a bunch of hardware, some brackets for the compression struts, and let's see what else. It does come with this little spacer. This is actually a wheel spacer. This is so you can actually get away with running like a factory spare if you were to need to in a situation. They give you that. And then right here you can see these are the optional McGaughys upper control arms. These are recommended when you're going to run at 9 inches because it does have the clocked ball joint on it. So at 9 inches it's going to have pretty much a neutral ball joint position, and they do use move ball joints on their control arms. So you'll notice that this kit is set up for 9 inches because he has the rear add-a-leafs and the front upper control arms. So this thing will be perfectly set up to run at 9 inches, just like it was designed to. And really, I think that's about it for this kit. We're gonna go ahead and get it installed, and then we'll check back in later, run through it on the truck, and check out all the angles once it's done. All right, guys, we got the McGaughys kit installed on the truck here. Remember, this is the 7 to 9 inch kit. This is the basic kit. We're gonna run through the components as they are installed, and then once we finish up there, we'll get it on the ground and show you guys how the angles look, which is probably one of the most important aspects of a lift kit. So we got the new forged knuckles here, as you can see, the optional McGaughys upper control arms, and you can see at full droop here, the truck's up on the lift. You can see the ball joint is pretty much neutral, maybe has a little bit of an angle to it, and that's going to be one of the big reasons why you run an aftermarket control arm such as this, because on a factory control arm you'd see quite an angle on the ball joint, which is not good for it. It's going to just wear it out super fast, and we use these to prevent that. We got the sway bar drop brackets, as you can see, drop those down. They also do use these kind of, I don't know how I feel about them here, that these little extensions on the end of the sway bar. We'll get a shot of that here in a second by the end link. Kind of looks a little hokey, but I guess if it works, it works, and time will tell if it works. And then as you can see here, we got the tubular compression struts. All those do, as you can see, they bolt to the rear cross member and then they bolt to the frame. It's just a simple way of bracing the front cross member structure so it prevents it from moving back and forth. Remember, the basic kit has the tubular ones. The stainless steel or premium kit has the fancy boxed ones with the nice laser cutting and everything like that. They do the same job. One just looks prettier than the other. Big part of this lift kit is these struts here. As you can see, it's a replacement strut, no factory strut being reused. And as you can see here, there's the grooves that we mentioned on the bench. This kit is set for 9 inches, so it'll be all the way in the top groove, and that's where the lower spring retainer will sit, on that top groove, and that's going to give the truck 9 inches of lift at that setting. We can see our CV axle spacers here, the aluminum spacers. Remember, now I didn't look it up, but I forget. Track width is very nominally increased. I believe at 7 inches it's about 0 inches increased. At 9 inches it's about, I think, like 3/4 of an inch. It increases over the rear. And we got our front differential drops as well. You can see those are those big 7-inch drops. It clears the electric steering rack and everything like that, so there's nothing to worry about there. And then one thing to mention, an issue that we ran into, is the instructions don't mention it, but we actually had to cut and clearance the differential here on the bottom. As you can see where it passes through the cross member, it was hitting the differential, so we actually had to clearance the differential. The instructions didn't say to do that, but it's definitely something you have to do, because otherwise it wouldn't fit without that. That is going to be pretty much it for the front of the truck here. I don't think I'm missing anything. Oh, one other thing to mention would be the tie rod ends. We got the new tie rod ends on here, excuse me, as you can see, and then we will go to the back. We got, as you can see, the new fabricated lift blocks from McGaughys, our new U-bolts. One thing I'm not a fan of is the fact that these are raw. It'd be nice to have a coated U-bolt, because these are just going to rust pretty quickly, especially in this state. And then right here is the add-a-leaf that we had to add to the leaf pack here, and that's going to lift the rear of the truck so that at 9 inches it's going to sit level. So that's going to be a necessary option if you want to run at 9 inches. Unless you want the squatty boy look, then don't get it. McGaughys shocks in the rear, and then for the brake lines, typical rerouting bending the factory bracket and everything like that to give room here, and that's pretty much going to round up the back of the lift. Nothing too crazy going on in the back here. 7 to 9 inch McGaughys, running at 9 inches on this particular truck, and then we'll get it on the ground here so you can see the angles.